Hi guys, Sharina here from Sassy, and I gotta start off by saying thank you to everybody who's subscribed. We just recently hit 500 and that's so crazy cool. So thank you everybody, it's so awesome. In this tutorial, I'm actually gonna be talking about the thermoplastic Worbla, and I'm gonna be making a mask for the character Kindred from the game League of Legends. Okay, so starting off with just talking about Worbla in general. Worbla comes and it's this color. It's kind of this like tan brown color, and it actually comes in big giant sheets that you can buy depending on what size you want to actually purchase. It is a little bit more expensive than, let's say, like your foam pieces that you can buy really just about any craft store. So it is a little bit more expensive, but it actually cuts out a lot of steps along the way, which is why a lot of people love using it. It's also really versatile. So this was actually my first time playing with it, and surprisingly actually easy. It seems kind of terrifying, especially given the price. You don't really want to like mess it up, but it was actually very easy to work with. So one thing that you will have to purchase on top of the Worbla though is a heat gun. Now I bought this at Lowe's, and I think it was honestly about like 15 bucks. So not really all that expensive. And it's also great if you're going to be using any other foam for foam armor or any other detailing. It's great for molding them into the shapes that you need. So this comes, when the Worbla actually comes, it will have a shiny side and more of a textured side. But it doesn't matter which side that you actually use. What you basically do is just heat it up and then mold it into whatever shape you want. So we'll go ahead and get started using the mask from Kindred.
So I was lucky enough to actually find this really great mask at a Michael's, and then basically printing out an image of the character I wanted. I printed out the mask, I scaled it to my face size, and then I just cut it out, and laying it over top of the mask, I was able to then design the shape of the mask. So just taping it on, basically, then taking a marker and kind of following the design on the pieces I would then have to place onto the mask. This was my template. You can see actually a version of it printed out right next to the mask that I'm working on the table. And this just gives me a reference to work from. So at this point, I've finished drawing on top of the mask and actually cut out the first piece, and that will actually be what lays on top of the mask. Here, I'm actually cutting out of foam. This is half-inch foam, the wings that will go on the top, and I do this for all of the pieces that I'll be attaching. And here is all the pieces just laid out so you get an idea. So with this project, I'm using a Dremel tool to actually create the shapes of the foam pieces that I have cut out. This will then be the basis for all of the Worbla. So for the wings, for all of the pieces, I'm sanding the sides of them so that they have a curved edging. And this will help when I'm actually doing the Worbla. It makes a nice smooth edge for it and looks more like metal. And I'll use the same tool and actually to define those kind of, I don't know, sculpted areas on the wings. You do want to push a little bit harder here and get a really nice deep definition, because you'll lose some of it when you lay the Worbla on top of it. So I think after I actually filmed this, I went back and added a little bit more to make it a little bit deeper, so I would see it better when I lay the Worbla on top. Alright, so getting to the Worbla, which here I've cut out a piece, scratchy side, smooth side. It doesn't really matter actually, I found, where you start on. So you want to have a good amount of edging. I mean, not a terribly huge amount because you don't want to waste your Worbla, but you do want to give yourself a little bit of edging to sandwich the pieces together. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I'm cutting out just two large like rectangles, and I'll sandwich the foam in between it. So using the heat gun in kind of an even pattern, you want to heat the whole piece up. This melts the thermoplastic and makes it flexible and moldable. So as you can see here, it does cool off though pretty fast. So I think I go and I have to hit it again with the heat gun. But do be careful because when the thermoplastic does melt, it actually can get really hot. So you don't want to accidentally burn your fingers when you're working with it. Especially when you're molding two pieces together, it can get pretty hot. But the great thing about thermoplastic is that it does bind to just about anything, it adheres to it. So I press down on the foam and voila, it's already adhered. No glue necessary. The great thing about thermoplastic as well is that until you put paint or glue on top of it, you can continue to remold it with the heat gun. So here I've sandwiched the pieces together already, and I am using a pen or really just anything to give those divot areas, those sculpted areas, the shape in the foam. And then just run my fingers along the edge. You want it nice and tight up next to the foam so that you'll have a clean edge when you're cutting off all of the excess. So just work with it. It's easy to mold. So at this point, it's cool, so I'll just hit it again with the heat gun. It makes it easier to cut through, and I'll just use some scissors, cut right next to the edge, and then using my fingers, I'll actually just kind of squish down the extra plastic, and it'll be a nice clean edge. So here's just kind of a shot of all those pieces covered in the Worbla, except for the mask, which I'll do one large piece over the mask and cut out the eyes. So here is the painted version. You want to start with black first whenever you're doing a metallic, and I went with a gold to match the character's design. I did go ahead and step forward. This is the horn already attached to the mask, but I did want to show you how I did the detailing in gold. It's just cut out of masking tape. This is the rope and gold discs that hang from it. I just took a decorative rope and unbundled it for the red rope effect. With the gold discs, I actually cut out a small portion in the back and then glued the pieces together around the rope, just using hot glue. To attach the pieces, I actually added support with all those extra pieces of Worbla. I just attached it to the mask along with the rope to the discs. So this is the D-rings that I've attached also with Worbla, and I've created kind of like a little headgear using some elastic and Velcro to attach it to the face. So I did go back through and add some extra support for those pieces with extra Worbla, as well as that black mesh to black out the eyes. I actually also went in and added some foam to make it a little bit more comfortable to wear, like on the inside. And I did end up giving a little black detailing in all those edges to kind of, grunge it up a little bit and make it look more realistic.
Alright guys, well I hope that tutorial was helpful. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below. You guys can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Google+. You can also check me out on my website at sasi.seamstress.com. So, I guess till next time guys, bye!